In this episode, I set off to investigate a small tributary in Nevada, rumored to hold the Silver State's fish, the Lahontan Cutthroat. But the challenge begins before my fly even hits the water, as I have purposefully left my fly box at home with the intention of tying a fly in hand, Creekside, without the aid of a vise or modern fly tying tools. Does Uncarinkus Clarkie Hinshawi still maintain a presence in the small tributary? And do my in-hand tying skills produce a fraudulent fly worthy of a rise? Find out in this episode of Flyfisher-Tech. All right, so initially, I was gonna hike 4 miles up. I was told there were browns down in the lower section of this creek, but there's a tributary to this creek about 4 miles up that has supposedly has Lahontan Cutthroat in it. I've made it about 1.5 miles, 2 miles up, and walking along this creek here, I've seen 2 pretty good sized fish, and they're kind of slow and lethargic, so they could be browns, most likely not brook trout. Brook trout usually dart across the as soon as they catch sight of you. So they could be browns, but they also could be Lahontan Cutthroat. And I don't know, I've just seen too many of them and I can't resist. I'm gonna have to stop here and try to catch one. So. All right, so I intentionally left my fly box at home. I'm going to attempt to tie a fly without a vise. So tying in hand is what it's referred to. And the pattern I'm going to tie is a Sakasa Kebari. So I'll show you the materials here. Have a piece of thread, hackle pliers, hooks, and some partridge. A little bit of wax for the line, thread, and some scissors. I practiced this a few times this last week, and yeah, we'll have to see how this goes. Creekside, so here we go. Who has not seen the Scarus rise, decoyed and killed by fraudulent flies? This single line from a poem by Marcus Valerius dates back to around 100 AD, making it one of the earliest written accounts of fly fishing with artificial flies. Another Roman writer, Claudius Aelianus, referenced fly fishing methods used in ancient Macedonia in his book titled On the Characteristics of Animals. But regardless of the exact historical starting point, we can safely say that we have been honing the art of crafting and presenting the artificial fly to the fish for a very long time. And in that time, fly fishers have benefited from many technological advancements. But one technology in particular that I think is often overlooked is the modern fly tying vise, which doesn't make its debut in recorded history until the 1800s. And I must admit that when I first started tying flies, the idea of not clamping a hook in the jaws of a vise never entered my mind. It's just so foundational to modern tying. Step 1, clamp hook and vise. Step 2, proceed to add materials to hook using both hands, says every modern fly tying recipe. But the fact is that for almost all of fly fishing history, the fly tying vise consisted of a good pinch between the thumb and index finger. And this is the construction method we are employing today. Trim off our thread. I don't know, what do you think? I think I could trim some of these little, I could trim it up a little bit more, but I really like the looks of that. I think it makes it look a little more buggy. Yeah, definitely not the prettiest Sakasa Kebari I've ever tied, but I guess the ultimate test is to see if it'll catch fish. When the fish observes a fly on the surface, it swims quietly up, afraid to stir the water above, lest it should scare away its prey. Then coming up by its shadow, it opens its mouth gently and gulps down the fly, like a wolf carrying off a sheep from the fold, or an eagle a goose from the farmyard. Having done this, it goes below the rippling water. Claudius Elenius, on the characteristics of animals. Oh, yeah, that's a big brown. Ah. Look at that. Big brown caught on. Fly tied with no vise. Wow. Man, too cool. Big old brown. I was thinking that they might be Lahotans, just because they're kind of slow and lethargic and that. But yeah, that makes sense with the big old brown. But on a Creekside, fly in hand, no vise, 2 tools. I used 2 tools, a pair of scissors and hackle pliers. That was it to tie this fly to catch this brown. That is pretty freaking cool. Oh man, I'm gonna get this guy, get a good release shot here, and then we'll move along. Too cool. Yes. Take some patience, a little bit of patience and some stealth. That was just too cool though. I can't believe that. Hand-tied fly with no vise, big old brown. That was a good sized brown for this little creek. All right, I'm gonna try to make my way back up to the trail here. See you in a bit. All right, made my way all the way up the main creek, and then it forks off right here. And this small tributary supposedly has Lahontan Cutthroat in it. I'm not sure. I just found an old map. Oh wow. I don't know if you can see it. There's wild horses setting up on that ridgeline. Yeah, I couldn't tell. I don't have a telephoto lens. They might have someone with them setting up there in that saddle. I couldn't tell if they had saddle and tack on, if they were wild, but it's kind of crazy. They're just sitting up there. I looked at the maps and I didn't see any trails, so I don't know. There might be somebody there with them. But anyways, we're on this creek here. I suspect it's a really tiny little creek. I haven't actually gotten to it yet, but there should be some Lahontan Cutthroat in there. It's going to be, as you can see, just not very fun to access. So I'll drop in here really quick. We'll see if we see any fish first. That's what I usually do when I get to these creeks first, is try to spook something to see if fish are even present. And then yeah, then we might grab out our rod and our stream-side tied Sakasa Kebari and see if we can pull a Lahontan Cutthroat out of here. All right, see you in a bit. Unfortunately, the rest of the fishing footage on my camera was corrupted. However, this was no great loss, as I discovered a lack of Lahontan Cutthroat in the tributary. They were wild horses. All right, making my way back down to the car. Not bad. I hope I didn't sound too maybe disappointed with that second fish up on that tributary creek. It was a brown and that, but still cool. I was hoping for Lahontan Cutthroat. I really like native fish, heritage native trout, and that's what I was kind of shooting for. But still, you know, this is a beautiful wild trout fishery, right? Good, healthy, self-sustaining population of German browns in here, and you know, they've, you know, I guess pretty much taken over the whole watershed, but still super fun to catch. And really the point of this trip was to test out my skills, my fly tying skills without a vise. I mean, I thought that was pretty cool. I practiced that a couple of times at home at my fly tying desk, but I'll tell you, it's a lot easier when you're sitting at your bench in a controlled environment. Way easier than out here streamside fumbling around trying to keep organized. But yeah, so that's I guess proof right there that you don't need a fly tying vise. All you need is a good thumb and index finger and a couple materials, a pair of scissors. Hackle pliers make it nice, but heck, you don't even need those. And you know, that was just proof that all the way across the creek here. Yeah, and so not only did we tie a decent looking Sakasa Kebari. I mean, it was a little fluffy, but I could have spent some more time trimming it up, but it didn't need it. It looked buggy, and you know what? At the end of the day, it worked. Caught two, one really nice sized brown, and second little brown with it. So yeah, proved the pattern, and yeah, what a beautiful day. Had a blast. Super thankful to be in here, and yeah, glad that all worked out. But anyways, until next time, go fishing often and see ya.